Welcome, strangers. I'm Moose, and boy, am I sick and tired of Big Pharma destroying America with their jacked up prices, overpaid CEOs, and legions of genetically engineered monsters just itching to taste your flesh. And when it comes to evil biotech companies, the Umbrella Corporation makes Pfizer look like Doctors Without Borders. As the antagonist of Capcom's seminal survival horror series, Resident Evil, Umbrella and its ilk have spent untold billions to ensure that you get eaten alive as painfully as possible. But you don't need to be a master of unlocking to live through the next outbreak, you just need to follow our guide. So, gather some kind herbs, fix yourself a Jill sandwich, and thank your lucky stars, because this is how to kill bioorganic weapons. Between the games, the spin-offs, the movies, the remakes, and more, we can't possibly cover every killer creature from the Resident Evil canon, but there are some common methods used to mutilate the mutants, starting with that old standby, buckets and buckets of bullets. Forget pain relievers or allergy medicine, Umbrella's bread and butter has always been zombies. But no matter what man-made mutation is reanimating the dead, most RE zombies adhere to Romero rules. AKA,
shoot him in the head, that's a sure way to kill him. If you don't, get yourself a club or a torch, beat him or burn him, they go up pretty easy.
Now, as with any post-apocalypse, there are a few exceptions, like in the RE1 remake, where you had to cremate the zombies to prevent them from returning as killer Crimson Heads. And we can't forget Las Plagas,
¡Un forastero!
the parasite that plagued our heroes in RE4 and 5. If you're short on ammo, you could send some of them on a one-way trip to Suplex City, but even a perfect dome ride could do little more than reveal the monster within. If and when that happens, don't panic, just keep pumping bullets into the parasite and the giants and ganados will go down for good. Just like the fungal foes and hard to kill hillbillies in Resident Evil 7. You don't want to be too trigger happy though, this is survival horror after all. Ammo is scarce and you've got bigger fish to fry. Literally. From sharks to spiders, dogs to frogs, there's seemingly no corner of the animal, insect, or plant kingdom that Umbrella hasn't corrupted with their twisted science.
Shh, not now, son. I'm making toast.
But even the mighty hunters, revolting regenerators, and the lurking lickers are highly susceptible to lead poisoning. Although the movie licker needed some high-impact training to put it down for good. And by that I mean it gets dragged under a train until it dies. There are some bioweapons, however, that can hold up to small arms fire, and that's when you bring out the big guns. Resident Evil games love to make the player feel powerless, but you're never stuck with the pea shooters you start out with for long. With enough exploring, your item box will be overflowing with wonderful toys with which to tackle the terror. A grenade launcher will help you make short work of most mutant monstrosities.
Stay dead, okay?
Especially with some gloriously grisly acid rounds. And chemical flamethrowers are great at turning plant creatures into kindling. But when it comes to the terrifying Tyrants, there's only one weapon that can take these bad boys down. Umbrella's flagship products come in all shapes, sizes, and states of undress. And if you want to wipe them out, you're gonna need a little help from above. Most Tyrants come equipped with a secondary heart grafted to their chests, a bright red beating target for you to soften up with whatever shotgun shells or magnum rounds you have left. That's enough to kill the prototype Tyrant in Resident Evil 0, but the final versions require a little more oomph. When you're at the end of your rope, you're out of ammo, and you're backed into a corner as the self-destruct clock inevitably ticks down, just look to the heavens, because you might just receive a very special gift from a chicken-hearted helicopter pilot or a triple-crossing super spy. I'm talking, of course, about the rocket launcher. More powerful than any other weapon in the game.
It's really powerful, especially against living things. Better take it with you.
And capable of tenderizing the typical Tyrant with a single shot. Now, the upgraded Nemesis variant is an even tougher nut to crack. Thanks to a parasite embedded in its brain, Nemesis can strategize, speak,
Stars.
and shoot a rocket launcher of its own.
It's finally over. Huh?
In the movies, the more sympathetic stalker is crushed by a helicopter and then nuked along with the rest of Raccoon City. But in its eponymous game, it takes a blast from an experimental railgun to send the Nemesis reeling. Plus a few more shots from the mighty Magnum to put it down for good.
You want stars? I'll give you stars.
Say what you will about Umbrella and its imitators, they build their mindless killing machines to last. But there is always a chance that they'll ship with a fatal flaw. When it comes to Resident Evil monsters, the eyes have it. For all its cinematic touches and eerie atmosphere, Resident Evil is still at heart a video game, and as such, they retain certain gamey elements, like bosses with big, obvious weak spots. For whatever reason, most of the mutagens in the RE universe come with the unpleasant side effect of growing giant, watery, glistening yellow eyes all over your body. Not only that, but they're apparently connected to all sorts of vital systems, since attacking the eye is your surest path to beating these biohazards. William Birkin and his G-Virus babies? Shoot him in the eye. The diminutive debonair Ramon Salazar? Shoot him in the eye. What about his boss Sadler, the Mad Monk? Shoot the eyes on his legs, then stab his other, even bigger eye. How about Jolly Jack Baker from Resident Evil 7? He's nothing but eyes by the end. Though even after pumping his pupils full of lead, you will need to dose him with a serum to freeze him for good, or at least until his brother shows up with the bionic gauntlet for some extremely fashionable fratricide.
It's the farewell from the family, brother.
It was in the DLC. Go figure. Even Albert Wesker, the big bad of the entire franchise, has a prominent peeper that's just begging to be popped. Not every bioweapon comes equipped with a corneal kill switch though, so when your guns can't get the job done and your rockets fail to launch, you'll have to rely on envirohazards. Bioorganic weapons might be stronger, faster, and deadlier than your average bear, but they don't usually impress in the brains department. And like so many bosses before them, they love setting up shop in areas that are extremely hazardous to their health. Throughout the series, you'll constantly find yourself in environments surrounded by exploding barrels, giant cranes, incinerators, and with some smooth moves, you can let your surroundings do the dirty work for you. If you're backed into a corner by a giant infected zombie alligator, just pull a Jaws and stuff a pressurized tank down its gullet.
Chew on that, you overgrown son of a bitch.
If you can't shake that rampaging tentacle monster, just use the laser satellite that's conveniently passing overhead. From electrified puddles to liquid nitrogen, the battlefield has plenty of tools at your disposal, though you might not always have time to scan your surroundings. Odds are those self-destruct sirens are going to be blaring when you finally face off with the ultimate evil. But Umbrella's contingency plans are actually kind of a blessing in disguise. After all, there is nothing better at stopping an unkillable monster in its tracks than dropping 80 tons of secret laboratory on its head. Or heads. Bioweapons are unpredictable beasts, however, and a lot of them like to take the fight outside. Lucky for you, Umbrella may flagrantly flaunt the Geneva Conventions, but their creations still obey at least one law: gravity. You can always try to lure your foe off a cliff, or better yet, into a volcano, like Albert Wesker's ultimate fate, which, by the way, is way more impressive than the movies.
You're fired.
Where he gets his legs crushed under a door, somehow bleeds to death despite having the T-virus inside him, and he gets blown up for good measure. Clearly, he's made of hardy stuff, but that's nothing compared to Derek Simmons from Resident Evil 6. Pumped full of the C-virus, he pursues Leon as a centaur, a dinosaur, and finally, a giant mutant housefly, because of course he does. He endures tremendous amounts of punishment along the way, too. He gets shot, burned, run over by a train. He even gets electrocuted after eating a zombie embedded with a lightning rod. But it barely even slows him down. So, what actually does him in? Well, a rocket launcher, duh. But the ultimate cause of death is impalement, which is a somewhat pedestrian end for a Resident Evil boss, but you just can't beat that subtle poetic imagery. Resident Evil is in a pretty good spot right now. The 7th game brought the series back to its roots after a slow decline into mindless action.
I've had enough of your bullshit!
And the RE2 remake might just be the best expression of the survival horror concept that I've ever played. With a Netflix series in the works and rumors of more remakes swirling about, it might be a while before we meet any new bioweapons. Believe me, that is just fine by me. But in the extremely likely event that Umbrella unleashes chaos on the world once more, we'll be here with everything you need to survive the horror. And you can come back anytime. Thanks for watching, everyone. I am loving the RE2 remake. I just cleared Leon A last night and I can't wait to get back to it. But for now, I want you guys to tell me, what is your favorite monster from the entire RE franchise? Do you like the Lickers, the Garradors, Los Gigantes? Leave a comment, let me know, and please subscribe to Now This Nerd.